All right, super excited to be at the user conference again. I think this is user conference 16 for me. I don't know about you, but I've been to every single one of these things and I love them. So I'm going to jump in right away into the product update. I got about 15 minutes to summarize all the work that 45 or so LabKey employees have contributed to LabKey server over the last year. So that's a lot, and I'm just going to scratch the surface, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of what we've been up to and what has gone into this product that you're using. So I'm going to start with administration. So maybe not the most exciting slide, but that's on purpose. You know, the last thing a server administrator wants is an exciting upgrade process, because that usually means something has gone wrong. Now, in the case of LabKey, things don't tend to go wrong. We have very robust, reliable upgrade through tens of thousands of upgrades over the years. But we saw room for a little bit of improvement over the last year, and we made those improvements, and you should be aware. So first of all, every server startup, the server validates the underlying database schemas to make sure that the structure, all the columns and tables in every single schema matches our expectations. And if they don't, then a warning will be presented to administrators. So you probably won't see that warning, but if you do, let us know and we can help you resolve it. Likewise, we also flag what we call unknown modules, meaning modules that have been installed in the past but no longer exist. Those could cause a problem with upgrades in the future. So we flag those and encourage you to remove them. We also LabKey automatically uninstalls certain types of modules, those that don't manage a schema. And if all of that doesn't catch issues, there's kind of a last fail-safe, which is we now detect if a module will have a problem updating because it's too far out of date. And if that's the case, we won't even start the upgrade. We won't leave you with a partial upgrade. That's not what we want. So we will flag upfront any modules that can't be upgraded. We're also now on every service startup validating that the encryption key you provide is consistent. You haven't changed it. Now, there is an official way to change an encryption key if you need to. But if you don't follow that process and you just update the encryption key, that could be a problem. We won't be able to decrypt credentials and other sensitive data that get encrypted in the database. So we flag that to make sure you're aware of that upfront. And then we also in an effort to improve efficiency of queries, we now provide a lot more information, an actual query execution plan for more queries that are run in the system. And that can help us kind of figure out why a certain query might be running slowly, so that we can optimize that and do better for you. So then on the actual application administration, so around permissions and policies, you can now set a retention time on your audit logs. So the audit log is very important facility, tracks many different events across a variety of different types. And those audit logs in some cases can get large, depending on how you've configured the audit log and what your activity is. So this gives you the ability to manage those log tables and also to follow organizational policies. So if you have a policy that says we retain data for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, you can tell LabKey to retain audit logs for the requisite period of time. We also provide some new capabilities around permissions, in particular the ability to clone the permissions of an existing user to another user. So for instance, if one of your employees changes their job role and needs to mirror the permissions of an existing employee in that role, you can copy those, you can clone those permissions from one user to another. And then at the request of some of our clients, we have added a new role that gives all the abilities of the editor role without the ability to delete. So you can create new, you can update, etc. Just can't delete. So that's a new role that's available. So I always love security. Of course, we love making sure that your servers and your data is secure. And LabKey has traditionally always been one of the most secure systems out there. But I'm excited that we've added even more capabilities and more options to that list. Most of these are showing up in our upcoming 2311 release, which will come out in November. So we have introduced a new, stronger password rule, kind of a more modern, stronger rule. And we're phasing out what we call the weak rule. That was really in there for development and testing purposes, and it has no place on a production server. And we noticed that a few production servers were using it, so we've decided we're going to remove that weak rule. We've also implemented two-factor authentication via Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Authy, those a variety of web apps typically running on phones that provide 6-digit codes. We will now interface with those systems to provide a free of charge two-factor authentication capability. We have added audit logging when API keys are used. So API key authentication typically used from the client APIs. So with a program or script interacting with LabKey, these are now treated as first-class authentication mechanisms. We're also working on allowing content security policies that specify that inline script is forbidden. So basically, the policy instructs the browser to never run inline script. This is a sort of an added protection against cross-site script injection attacks, which LabKey shouldn't be subject to, but this provides an additional kind of layer of protection within the browser. So we're working to allow that within LabKey deployments. And then finally, not so much a feature, but sort of a process that we've put in place to help security. We are now notified on a nightly basis about any vulnerabilities that might appear in the third-party dependencies that we use. So that was pretty quick. If that looks like an agenda for an exciting session, well, you'd be right. That's happening at 10 a.m. today. Josh Eccles, our CTO, will be going into these and other security enhancements in great detail. So I very much encourage you to stick around for that. A few other platform enhancements we've added over the year. We've improved PHI access control and compliance logging, so to make them more consistent and more flexible. So a lot of you are using our HIPAA compliant PHI handling, and so now more queries will be allowed, and the logging is more kind of fine-tuned to what's going on there. We've added some new fields to assay results to show you who created and modified those certain rows and when. We also support folder archives that are essentially templates that don't include data. This makes it very easy to, for instance, copy the structure of a study or the structure of an experiment or folder from one folder to another and allow for data collection in a consistent manner. And then we've updated our import options and made it more clear and provided additional options for how you want to bulk import data. All right, we always love integrations. The fact that LabKey integrates with hundreds of different systems and instruments out there is incredibly valuable to all of our customers. We've made that better. So now, first of all, on the authorization side, LDAP user and group synchronization now works with more LDAP servers. We've supported Active Directory for a long time, but we've added some of the open source servers as well to the list of officially supported servers. We also support now Power BI and Jump via ODBC, and AWS Glue and Spotfire via their Postgres JDBC drivers. So those have all been kind of certified to work with LabKey. And we've made a variety of improvements to our Jupyter Notebook, RStudio, and RedCap integration. On the database side, we always like to support the latest and greatest versions of relational databases out there. So Oracle in particular, we were a little behind. One of our clients asked us to get up to date on that. So we added support for 19, 21, 23, all the most recent versions of Oracle. And in that process, we kind of took it a step further, and we did robust testing of Oracle. We kind of created a test framework, and we found out there were some data types and some features that weren't 100% supported. So we added support for those. Likewise, most recent versions of Postgres, Microsoft SQL Server, we support all of those. We switched over to the Microsoft SQL Server JDBC driver, which is maintained by that large software company, and regular versions come out. So it's a more maintained JDBC driver, supports all the latest features of SQL Server. So that was an important switch over there. And then lastly, we added the option to retry connecting to external databases. If the first connection has failed, you have the option to retry that. Let's say the server was down when you initially connected to it. So I'm not going to focus on Sample Manager too much here. There are lots of resources and webinars that go into great detail on Sample Manager, but I did want to make sure you're aware that every single premium edition, every single LabKey server premium edition includes a built-purpose sample tracking and freezer management system. And this system has been improved greatly over the last year, and we're making many improvements in the future as well. So if you have samples to manage and you're not using this, you should definitely check it out, and check out the resources on our website of the webinar recordings, etc. This is a great resource for you. And likewise, every professional and enterprise premium edition includes a user-friendly, data-connected electronic lab notebook. This is, again, built into LabKey Server. Great number of enhancements over the last year, and we're planning additional improvements in the next year, primarily around making sure for those who use the electronic lab notebook, who spend most of their time in it, we want to make it very easy for you just to stay in that user interface and integrate with all the other features within LabKey Server and within Sample Manager. So we're very excited about the progress we've made with LabKey Cloud. So as you can see here, the majority of our customers and the vast majority of new customers are opting for LabKey to manage their instances of LabKey Server in the cloud, in our cloud. So we provide all of the maintenance. We do the configuration, backups, address any dependencies that need to be upgraded. We handle all of that on behalf of our customers, and it just frees them up to focus on the research and the analytics that are important to them. We do have the ability to connect to on-premise resources, and we offer full compliance and validated offerings if that's necessary. So every time I present, I talk about how we spend a lot of our time on performance and scalability and reliability, trying to make that a little more concrete here by just addressing what motivates us, or what causes us to make these improvements. And it's really two main avenues of feedback. It's our tight collaboration with our LabKey Cloud team. They are managing a very large number of instances of LabKey Server in the cloud, and that gives us a great deal of information that we can use to improve the product, to make it easier to configure, to make to improve the logging, to fail over gracefully when services go down and come back up again, to optimize memory use, etc. All of that improves the product and helps all of our customers who deploy this product. And then, even more importantly, we get continuous feedback from our customers. Michael touched on this. I talk about it every single time I present, but it's just crucial to who we are. We really listen to our customers. We encourage your feedback. We get that feedback in a variety of different ways, but we always want to make sure you know we take that feedback seriously and we incorporate it into improvements in our product, and that just makes the product better. So lastly, some of the upcoming initiatives that we're looking at. So this for the next year or so. This is not everything, but some of the ones that I thought might be most interesting. We're, as always, we're looking at query performance, in particular on large audit tables, even more customization of password rules, other integrations, and other improvements that will, that we've heard from our customers or we've seen in the a market need out there. So I think with that, a couple minutes to spare, I'll see if there are any questions for me.
Don't see any questions, but don't be shy, folks. Just enter them in that Q&A feature.
All right, well, hearing none, I will, oh, no, there's one.
All right, here, let me,
okay. Sure.
Yeah, let me read it out. A user asks, in Europe, we have, there's a whole bunch here, GDPR constraint preventing us from using LabKey Cloud solution maintained in the US. Question, is there any European cloud?
Yes, there is. In fact, we do host servers in Europe, and there's oftentimes the requirement that those servers are maintained in that country, and we are able to do that. Let's see, you've got a question. How does your cloud management of so many servers improve on-prem support? So yeah, I sort of touched on that. But we get the benefit of, so our product team and our cloud team work super closely together. The product team is, responding to the things that the cloud team sees, issues that arise, let's say, too much logging or query performance or etc. So we're adding features to the product that make it easier to deploy, configure, and manage LabKey Server. And all of those features are, they're product features that go into the product that are documented, and we make sure our clients know about them so that those who choose to do on-premise deployments get the benefit of those as well. We've also, this is not my area of expertise, but Stuart, for instance, head of our systems engineering team, has presented multiple times on our strategy, LabKey strategies for automated configuring, automated deployment, upgrades, kind of the best practices that his team has developed over the years, maintaining these many servers. All of that information we pass on to our customers. We're not hiding it. We're not keeping it secret. We're making, we want you to be as successful as possible deploying and managing these servers. And, we're building that expertise, and we're passing that along to our customers.
Great.
And then I see that Jim Abbott is excited to hear about calculated columns. So that's going to be a future thing. We're just starting to think about and work on that, but that's definitely a goal in the next year. So not a huge amount to say there, but we've heard loud and clear that that's a need through the different products.